Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first-year welcoming ceremony. Please stand and welcome our first-year students. Seated. Thank you. Well, good afternoon. My name is Martin Phillipson. I'm the Dean of the College of Law, and it's my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome you to this ceremony. I want to welcome students, our main guests of honor, staff, faculty, cloakers, honored guests, family, friends, and those watching online. We're excited to have you with us today for the first sort of normal ceremony we've had since 2019. We've had various hybrid versions over the last 2 years, but it's a pleasure to be here. As we gather today, I wish to acknowledge that we're in Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis people. We pay our respect to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place, and by doing so, we reaffirm our relationship with one another. I also want to note that the University of Saskatchewan, our entire community, mourns the tragic events that took place at the James Smith Cree Nation in Weldon earlier this month, and we offer our deep condolences to all of those who are grieving at this time. The first-year welcoming ceremony is intended to be a ritual marking the beginning of a new intellectual and professional journey, one that will be transformative and enriching for students embarking upon their legal studies. Part of the ceremony involves having our first years recite a student commitment. The student commitment has been derived from the University of Saskatchewan's Learning Charter, which was established in 2010 and revised in 2018. The Charter is our commitment to opening our university to learning, engagement, and opportunities for all peoples of Saskatchewan and beyond. And in so doing, it recognizes and appreciates the knowledge, diverse abilities, and the ways of teaching and learning that they bring with them. You will find the student commitment in your program, along with commitments from both the institution and our faculty. Together, these commitments define the roles each party plays in ensuring every student at the University of Saskatchewan is given an optimal learning experience. I also want to emphasize the role that our guests here today play. Parents, partners, grandparents, children, family, and friends. I always say that law school is a team sport, not an individual sport, and there is a team of people who've got you here, and there is a team of people who will help you through the next 3 years. The support that those individuals on the balcony have provided, and the support you will continue to provide to these students does not go unnoticed. And we thank you for playing such an important role in the lives in each and every one of them. You may be interested to know that today we're welcoming 124 new students and that they come from all across Canada. There are 6 provinces represented: Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and Newfoundland and Labrador. They have a wide variety of professional and educational backgrounds, including research, accounting, engineering, investing, fashion design, to name a few. The other thing that gives me a bit of pause is that the average LSAT score was 158 and the average entry GPA was 85%, which guarantees that I would never have been a classmate. As we go through the ceremony, please follow along in your programs for complete bios of each speaker and gown presenter. To begin proceedings, I would now like to welcome Joseph Netauhau, the Cultural Advisor for the College of Law, to bring greetings and to say a blessing. Joseph.
Thank you, Martin, my boss, my friend and brother. It's so beautiful to see family and dignitaries and all your supporters here, students. And remember this afternoon, kiss kisse means to remember. It has 2 kisses in there, so I'm not sure what that means. Kiss your family, kiss your mother, kiss your father. They got you here. I asked my sister this morning, what should I wear? I said, I just wear one of your ribbon shirts. I said, okay. And so I brought my ribbon shirt here. And makes me feel like dancing. But it was made by my Auntie Mary from our Hutterite colony in Earview down by Swift Current. And she was a very talented seamstress in the Hutterite colony. She's a Hutterite. But we found her somehow. Do a lot of work with us for my partner, Diana, who's not here. I wish she could be here. Often I'm alone, as it was when I was in university. I was all alone. My family wasn't around, so to see you with your family is one thing. It's huge. My family wasn't there at my graduation in grade 12. My mother came, but my father never came. Neither did my siblings, because I'm a survivor, so I never really got to see family members. Very rarely. We just kind of stuck with each other, my peers, when I went to school. So I want to do a little song. I know that there's a song that was playing here. It reminded me of a sitcom on television, and it's very familiar. I thought, no, I've heard that song. So I've got to honor also songs from this land, Treaty 6. So this is a song I'll sing to you, and it's from Onion Lake. And it speaks to the white buffalo that was born several years ago. And as Indigenous people, we honor when there's images like that come, buffalo, especially in particular, this territory, they were born. So I'll sing this song that was sung for about 11 minutes, but I'll just narrow it down to 1 minute as an honor song. Because I was thinking about you walking in here, just coming into marching in here. It's like, this is like a grand entry to us. Kayas keteya kikitwechek pemate seweniki mikoyak hamate kwa kichimatan Pasqua mostos Yahweh, 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 Kayas keteya kekituechek, Pematesewene mikoyak, Yahweh, Hamate kwa kichimatan, Pasqua mostos Yahweh. And what the word says, the old people said that there was a buffalo many, many years ago. So let us thank the buffalo for its blessing. That's basically what the song means. So we were dependent on the buffalo. And today the buffalo is education, as they say. So we'll put our minds together and our hearts together and pray for these young people that they have a good next few years and to remain focused like an arrow. So let's put our hearts together. How sky with them sweetie with the Canada got to go teaching. So he make the magnog, Gianca Sapotiog, Omotex Kitchix Namatogamic, College of Law. I went over sky go to get up to the Indigenous Law Society coming in Law Society. O sky, Ectowista. Kakamin what you can see to Scots, which I say. I'm going to ask one of the pay. Yep, I need to pay with the schema, cultural advisor at the piano at the College of Law. Be which Hindi stops, she says, to school go to Oxnamagi professors. I go me no go lawyers, judges. That took away. Itiga tam which you go with the go teacher, go no map the name. Kakyoga me with Chitoak. Otom, ik zo meestal is het magisch magie aan te gaan, is moest magie. Maar mocht daar maar ook cement ook. Na naga toemek. Nieuw ik ook dat ik. Na naga toemek. Kies zo gaan we maar. Na naga toemek. Hij tijd dan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. Before I begin to introduce our additional speakers, I just want to take a moment to draw your attention to the program, which was printed prior to the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. As you will hear in my introductions, any speakers with the designation of Queen's Counsel or QC are now King's Counsel or KC, and formerly the Court of Queen's Bench is now known as the Court of King's Bench. To start proceedings, I would like to welcome the Honourable Mr. Justice Neil Caldwell to bring greetings from the Court of Appeal of Saskatchewan.
Phillipson, Chief Justice, Chief Judge, colleagues and friends. On behalf of Chief Justice Richards and my colleagues at the Court of Appeal for Saskatchewan, I am honored to formally welcome you, the 2022 cohort of the University of Saskatchewan College of Law, to the College of Law and to the study of law. I will admit that this is something new for me. This welcoming ritual did not exist when I attended the university. My classmates and I were not launched onto our professional journey in a formal way. We just showed up at the college at day one and were immediately put to work studying the law. But as much as the law is often about upholding tradition, this ceremony is, I think, a good addition to the body of tradition at the college. It drives home the significance of an education in the law. It reinforces the relevance of the law in all of our lives, and it hints at the many important roles that lawyers have in maintaining the social fabric of our society. Each of you will have a different sense of it already, but every day and in every corner of our world, lawyers do serious and important work, carrying out many different roles. We all know that lawyers defend the rights of individuals, advocating for those in need of it, among other things. In big ways and in small, lawyers are at the forefront of our ongoing struggle to protect liberty, to ensure that justice is done, and to promote harmonious social order. Lawyers build, maintain, and work within the institutions, the systems, and the structures upon which our communities are grounded. Within those systems, they help everyday individuals organize and arrange their personal, family, and business affairs. Whether we recognize it or not, the law is at the very heart of the many, many relationships we have with each other and with the world at large. And because of that, it often takes lawyers to make many of these relationships work or to make them work well. It is not an exaggeration to say that lawyers help to bring order to chaos for many people and many organizations. By deciding to enter law school, you have chosen to become part of this collective professional effort to support and foster the rule of law. Over the next 3 years, you will learn a great deal, not only about the law, but about yourselves. Lecture by lecture, course by course, and year by year, you will acquire an understanding of the rules and systems that make our world run. You will discover how you might fit and work within and in furtherance of those systems. Your professors at the college will give you the intellectual tools you need to successfully chart your own path in this collective effort. And the knowledge they impart will serve you for the rest of your professional and personal lives, no matter what path you choose to take in the law. There was a saying when I started law school: in the first year, they scare you to death. In the second year, they work you to death. And in the third year, they bore you to death. And that proved true for me. And I expect it's still a case for many law students. But when you find 1L scary, and 2L exhausting, and 3L boring, remember this: law and the law school is a crucible. It is a time when different social forces and intellectual influences come together and cause new developments in your thinking. You and your classmates are all together in this crucible. You are all being challenged to develop your thinking and to grow in new ways. And like the law itself, law school is a collective effort. It is where you will form strong, collaborative friendships. These law school alliances will serve you in good stead for the rest of your lives. I know that, although it will not be without effort, each of you will find your own personal success during the next 3 years of your education. I know that it will be memorable, and I know that it will mark you for life, hopefully mostly in positive ways. Enjoy these next 3 years. I urge you to take all that you can from your time at the College of Law. Lastly, before I relinquish this microphone, I want to say a word about the quality of education that you will receive at the college. When I did my articles, and I had to do them twice in my year, you had to re-article everywhere you went. So I articled in Saskatchewan, then I went to British Columbia and re-articled. So when I articled in Vancouver, I was up against contemporaries, if you will, from UBC, UVic, Osgoode, other schools like that. Those schools had reputations. Some were good, some were bad, but they had reputations. But I will tell you this: it soon became clear to me that a U of S grads had a better grounding in the law than those schools, than a reputation, a better grounding in the things we needed to know in order to succeed in the practice of law. And I will tell you that, although it may seem quietly unassuming, our college here provides a stellar education in the law and does so in an environment that will allow you to take full advantage of it in practice. I know you will find satisfaction in your studies at this college and in the relationships you form at the college. In closing, I will frankly tell you that I am envious of you in the journey you are starting, but I am pleased to welcome you all to the study of law and to say on behalf of my Chief Justice and my colleagues, we wish you well and wish you success. Thank you.
I would now like to welcome to the stage the Honourable Chief Justice Martel Popescu to bring greetings from the Saskatchewan Court of King's Bench.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank Dean Phillipson and the College of Law for inviting me to address you on this very special and momentous day. On behalf of myself and all the other judges of Her Majesty's Court of King's Bench, yes, we're now the Court of King's Bench. That's going to be difficult to remember after 70 years of Queen's Bench. But congratulations to all of you for being accepted into this most prestigious college. I am proud to be a graduate of the University of Saskatchewan's College of Law. I sat where you are sitting, more or less, 46 Septembers ago when I started law school. That was in September of 1976. Time goes by quickly. Many things have changed. Now, everyone has a cell phone and a laptop computer, and most of the legal research is done online. Marijuana was still illegal, and COVID-19 was still a half century away. Peter McKinnon was just a young associate law professor and not the name of this building. However, some things never change, and one of those things is this College of Law, which remains, in my view, one of the best colleges of law in the entire country. You should be proud to be part of it. When I was thinking about what to say to you today, I reflected on my years of law school and the legal career that followed. And I decided that I would talk to you about two things. One is reputation, and the other is what I call law school bonding. First, I'll talk about reputation. All of you have been accepted into the College of Law, which is no easy feat, and is a significant accomplishment in and of itself. You arrive here with diverse pasts and personalities. I will suggest to you that right now you're experiencing a little bit of a renaissance or rebirth. Whatever or whoever you might have been, this has all changed. You are no longer that goofy kid in high school or the Kool-Aid guzzling champion on your street. You are all law students, and in less than 3 short years, you will graduate and begin your preparations to enter the profession. Law school is not merely an extension of your undergraduate studies. It is the first step in your professional career. As Professor Kingsfield in the iconic movie Paper Chase, which you have to see if you haven't seen it, you come here with a school full of mush, and you will leave here thinking like a lawyer. You have the opportunity right now to start to create the reputation that will carry with you for the rest of your life. It all starts now. If you are fortunate enough to develop a good reputation, you will gain the respect of judges, your colleagues, and clients. A good reputation is a very valuable asset that will make the practice of law much easier and will trigger immeasurable rewards. Develop and protect your reputation. The second thing that I would like to leave with you today relates to the common bonding experience that you will share with your classmates, those very people that are in this room today as you journey through law school. Over the next 3 years, you will work hard, and if you were anything like the class of '79, play hard. You will be stressed, embarrassed, elated, fatigued, overworked, filled with self-doubt, and question what is right and what is wrong. However, you will not be alone. You will be concurrently experiencing these same constellation of emotions with approximately 124 of your classmates. The psychological bond that will develop over the next 3 years while you share these mutual experiences during challenging times will result in many of your classmates becoming your lifelong friends and colleagues. My class, for example, has produced a couple of attorney generals, some presidents of the Law Society, 2 other justices of the Court of King's Bench, I caught myself, several provincial court judges, the Chief Justice of Saskatchewan, and not of insignificance, my wife. Enjoy, cherish, and respect these people. In my day, failure rates after first year was quite high. First-year law students were told, look to your left, look to your right. At the end of first year, one of those two people won't be there. And that's the way it was. Fortunately, as I've said earlier, times have changed. And if you work hard and work smart, there should be no reason to fail. Now, a more appropriate epitaph might be, look to your left, look to your right. Both of these people are your classmates and are likely to become lifelong friends and colleagues. The law school years were some of the best years of my life, and I hope the same holds true for you. I can't tell you that the next 3 years are going to be easy, but I can tell you that they will be worthwhile. You are entering a profession at a time of unprecedented opportunity. Welcome to the College of Law. Good luck. Be safe. Have fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Justice Pascal. Before I introduce our next speaker, just for the benefit of those of you who are our parents and others, this is the 110th class in the College of Law. So we are the oldest law school in Western Canada and one of the oldest law schools in the country. And one of the pleasures of being dean is I get to go and visit alumni. And I will say to the 120-something folks in the room, you will make lifelong friends. So recently, in the last, because there's been a post-COVID splurge in reunions, I've had the class of 1971 and the class of 1972 had reunions, and in both cases, there was almost 40 people from each class, which is remarkable after 50 years. I had the class of 1980, there was a reunion in Vancouver, and there was nearly 50 people there. I had the class of 1981 here this weekend, and there was over 50 people there. That's remarkable, and that is a testament to the bonds that you make and the friendships that you make and the spirit of the school. And I hate using phrases like school spirit, but I think actually in this particular instance, it is a testament to this school and the history and the traditions of this school that you make lifelong friendships and lifelong professional relationships, and we're very proud of that fact. And in light of that, I want to introduce a former dean of the college and a former colleague, the Honourable Associate Chief Judge Sanjeev Anand, to bring greetings from the Provincial Court of Saskatchewan.
It is an honor to return to the university for this ceremony, a ceremony which is near and dear to my heart. It was during my tenure as Dean of the College of Law that this event was conceived, and I would like to begin my remarks by reflecting upon the impetus for the first-year welcoming ceremony. I note that it is perhaps fitting that I give this address recounting the history of this ceremony in a place, Convocation Hall, whose very stones have etched on them much of the history of this province and this university. Almost a decade ago, I was in Montreal for a meeting of the Council of Canadian Law Deans. Our special guest at this meeting was Governor General David Johnston, himself a former Dean of Law and a former president of 2 Canadian universities. The Governor General spoke with considerable pride of attending his daughter's white coat ceremony while she was enrolled in medical school. He observed that the ritual of the ceremony created a connection, a sense of community between the alumni and students who participated in it. It served to introduce the students to a community of scholars and to the idea that the knowledge that they will gain during their years of medical school has the potential to significantly impact people's lives. With the power entailed by that knowledge comes great responsibility, a responsibility to give back to their communities and to treat others with respect, dignity, tolerance, and civility. Finally, the ceremony served to reinforce the importance of upholding the highest standards of academic honesty and of always conducting oneself in an ethically sound manner. When I heard the Governor General's words, my immediate thought was that the white coat concept and principles are just as germane and worthy of recognition in law schools as in medical schools. As a result, I decided to attend the white coat ceremony of the College of Dentistry and I was so impressed that I began a dialogue within the law school concerning putting on a similar type of event. As with most things, the collegial processes we had at the university resulted in a much improved concept for the event, and I extend my sincere thanks to the many faculty members, and in particular Professor Heather Haven, and former students who worked on this initiative. Although the gowns used in today's ceremony are black, the intention behind the ceremony is not to prepare the college's students for or suggest that they should necessarily embark upon a career in the legal profession. Some of our students may choose not to practice law, and it is certainly true that the perspectives and insights gained by a liberal legal education serve students well no matter what career path they end up pursuing. Indeed, there is great intrinsic value in a quality legal education. The gowns are black for a couple of simple reasons. First, the black gowns serve to distinguish this ceremony from the white gown ceremonies. Second, and most importantly, the black gown symbolizes the tunic worn by individuals as a sign of learning until the middle of the 14th century. It was this tunic, the academic gown we are all now familiar with, that was adopted and subsequently modified by Oxbridge, and then the legal profession in England. It symbolizes to students and their families that the students are progressing into a field of higher learning, and that this field is both a privilege and an opportunity, and it marks the beginning of an important new chapter in their lives. Thirdly, and perhaps most mundanely, the gowns are black because that is the color of academic gowns at this university, and we needed a ready supply of some type of ceremonial garb. So that is the history and rationale behind today's event. I could talk to you about the important role that lawyers play in our society, and they do play important roles. But I am mindful that today's ceremony is not about your entry into the legal profession. It is about your entry into a community that studies law as an academic discipline. And what a discipline it is. The study of law has been conducted in universities for centuries. Indeed, when you examine the histories of some of the most venerable institutions of higher learning in the world, you will see that legal studies were conducted there from their inception. Legal regimes and the manner in which they structure relationships among the people and institutions that exist within societies has been and continues to be a matter of fundamental importance and debate. An understanding of the pivotal role played by law in perpetuating the advantages enjoyed by elites and the disadvantages suffered by marginalized groups, as well as the potential that law offers as a means of achieving social justice, is important. And it is important not simply for lawyers, but for business people, bureaucrats, philanthropists, diplomats, journalists, social workers, activists, artists, politicians, as well as political staffers, to name but a few. A good legal education exposes you not just to the doctrinal rules derived from jurisprudence and statute law. Strong legal pedagogy involves an exploration of the theoretical underpinnings of the law and must include a critical examination of legislative and judicial rules through the lens of other disciplines. I encourage you to get the most out of your education here by ensuring that you take courses and seminars that cover a wide variety of subject matter, hone a myriad of skills, and provide criticisms from a variety of intellectual perspectives. Engage in the vibrant life of the college by becoming an editor of the Law Review, by attending the McKercher Lecture Series, by being elected to the executive of the LSA and ALSA, or by being selected to a moot team. Walk the path of reconciliation by engaging with, helping, and learning from members of our Indigenous inner-city community through volunteering with Classic. If you embark upon your legal studies with passion and curiosity, you will be richly rewarded. The rewards to which I refer are not the material possessions or compensation that comes from a successful career as a lawyer, but something more precious. As one of Mahatma Gandhi's favorite philosophers, John Ruskin, stated, "The highest reward for a person's toil is not what they get for it, but what they become by it." Become something great. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Anand. I would now like to welcome James Colpin, KC, a former classmate of mine, to bring greetings on behalf of the Law Society of Saskatchewan.
Chief Justice Popescu, Associate Chief Judge Anand, Dean Phillipson, distinguished members of the court, distinguished guests, professional colleagues, friends, family, and most importantly, first-year law students at the College of Law. I am honored to bring greetings on behalf of the Law Society of Saskatchewan. Getting into law school isn't easy. It takes more than a gift of intellect. It takes years of focus, hard work, and tenacity. Congratulations on your academic journeys, which have brought you to this exciting new chapter. Congratulations as well on your good taste and judgment in choosing the College of Law at the University of Saskatchewan. I began my studies here in 1989, graduating in 1992. I quickly realized that the college has a distinguished history of excellence and high standards. This proud reputation remains stronger than ever. The college is not just a law school, it's a community of strong thinkers, many of whom will become your lifelong friends. My 3 years at law school are some of the best years of my life. My sincere hope is that the pandemic will continue to ease so that all of you can fully experience the social aspect of college life. The relationships you build here will serve you well throughout your professional careers. I expect that your studies will involve many opportunities for discussions and conversations concerning commitments to diversity, truth and reconciliation, as well as access to justice. As a longtime practitioner at a for-profit law firm, I can tell you that these concepts are not merely academic constructs. They are now well ingrained within the fabric of the administration of justice. I can also tell you, working at a for-profit law firm, that there is a cold, hard business case for prioritizing these types of commitments. Those who fail to do so will be left behind. So embrace these discussions. They will give you a competitive advantage over generations of counsel who did not enjoy the benefit of such programming during their academic years. At times you will feel stressed. At times you will feel anxious. Sorry to say that this doesn't go away when you graduate. A life in law is challenging. It's important to establish healthy routines and to build good self-care in order that your success is done in a sustainable way. Live in balance. Law is something you do. It's not what you are. Now, this said, what lawyers do is fundamentally important work. Lawyers are the guardians of a free and democratic society. The practice of law is a noble profession built around a core ethos of integrity. As well said by Chief Justice Popescu, in your legal career, you have but one commodity to sell, and that's your reputation. It takes decades to build, it takes one day to lose. Professional responsibility isn't something you start cultivating after you graduate, it begins on your first day of law school. The Law Society of Saskatchewan regulates the legal profession in the public interest. It protects the public reactively by disciplining those who step offside, and proactively by ensuring that lawyers have the ongoing training and resources needed to remain competent and effective. The Law Society is a tremendous resource for lawyers. Apart from offering ongoing legal education, and it can assist you in navigating the ethics of challenging situations. If you don't know, ask. Congratulations again on your admission to law school. We wish you the best of luck in your studies and look forward to welcoming you to the profession in time.
Thank you. I'm now going to introduce Paddy McDougall, Deputy Provost of the University, to bring greetings on behalf of the University of Saskatchewan.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to join you this afternoon in celebrating this monumental day to mark the beginning of your legal studies. Before I offer remarks, I want to make sure to thank our cultural advisor to the College of Law, Joseph Natauhau, to thank him for sharing that song, to thank him for sharing those words. I can say with great assurance that the presence of Joseph Natauhau will uplift your experiences in our College of Law, and I share with the rest of my colleagues in the college in being thrilled to see him join to sign on in that role. I'd also like to thank colleagues, friends of the college who have spoken ahead of me for being present today. As Martin said, my name is Paddy McDougall, and I serve as our Deputy Provost. It is my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of the University of Saskatchewan President, Peter Stoichev, and also our Provost, Arini. I am by training a developmental psychologist, so these kinds of events hit me and move me as I think about your life trajectory of learning and development, and I know that I hope that I share with your family and friends who are here today in Convocation Hall, who are signing on, joining virtually, that this will become a moment in time for you. We want you to be able to mark a moment in time of great significance. And as I listened to those who spoke before me, I heard about a passion for the law. I heard and was moved by a love of the College of Law and the experiences that they had within the College of Law. And I think that there are great things ahead for you in that regard. I'm a little bit worried about 1L, about you being scared. The 2 L's can help you through that. The 3 L's clearly have cleared the bar and are now bored. So, but there is so much ahead of you. Starting law school is a significant milestone. It marks the achievement of you getting here, which we all know took considerable effort on your part, the part of your family and friends, but also it's the beginning of a new and exciting challenge. And as you begin that chapter of your academic career, I want to congratulate you on behalf of the University of Saskatchewan. You all have different stories, you all have different pathways, journeys that have brought you to this place, but you're going to share in a determination, you're going to share in a desire to excel, and you're going to share in service to the communities that you will encounter and in the community here that is going to support you. Whether you're new to the University of Saskatchewan, if so, welcome. Whether you're beginning an exciting new phase in your studies here, you are now part of a world-class institution, one of the top 15 research-intensive universities in Canada. You have joined a renowned College of Law with a tradition dating back more than a century. You are part of the first, as our dean said, you are part of the first law school established in Western Canada and home to the historic Indigenous Law Centre, one of the first of its kind in the country. In the coming years, you are going to join a distinguished family of alumni. We heard this afternoon about law alumni and what they have achieved. I will add to that 1L, and you can discuss amongst yourself at the reception who will take on these kinds of roles, but you are joining a university whose alumni include Canada's 13th Prime Minister, a Governor General, 2 premiers, 3 Supreme Court of Canada justices, and the first Indigenous lawyer to be called to the bar in Western Canada. Those are the people that have come before you. That is the kind of cohort that you are signing on to. You will have the opportunity to learn from and work with some of the brightest minds in the legal profession. I thank my colleagues who are here today, staff and faculty, nationally regarded for their work in the city of Saskatoon, in the province, and across the country. You're part of a campus community that's committed to creating a culture of inclusivity, diversity, and equality, and that these values will serve you well in the legal profession. You will be encouraged to be curious, to be creative, and most of all, to be compassionate. Never be afraid to ask those difficult questions. Please never be afraid to ask us to help you as we can in this journey. Today you're going to be, as our dean said, you're going to be making a commitment that's drawn from our learning charter, the only charter of its kind in the country. There are institutional and educator commitments in there that are reciprocal and offered as part of the commitment that you're making to your education. As you begin your careers in the College of Law, you are making a significant commitment to complete the hard work that lies ahead, and in return, the University of Saskatchewan is committing to you to doing whatever we can to help create an environment of success. So on behalf of the University of Saskatchewan, alongside my dear colleague, Dean Phillipson, once again, congratulations, welcome. We wish you the best and a career filled with success wherever your path will lead you. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you, Patty. I'm now delighted to welcome Mr. Glenn Gardner as our keynote speaker this afternoon. As an alumnus of the University of Saskatchewan College of Law, and most recently one of the longest-serving Saskatchewan Deputy Ministers of Justice and Deputy Attorneys General, Glenn Gardner's career has touched upon and grown many areas of the legal profession. His private law practice evolved to focus on mediation, for which he would become known for his skill and expertise in resolving conflicts related to family matters, farm debt crises, toxic workplaces, and labor negotiations. Sounds like there's a job for him at the university. Glenn moved to government to better pursue this work and elevate the practice and awareness of mediation through his leadership of the Dispute Resolution Office. He's graciously shared his passion for dispute resolution and collaborative law as a teacher and sessional lecturer. He's been known to leverage these opportunities to recruit top talent for the cause. Glenn's work throughout his varied career has focused on finding new ways to provide better service in the justice system and building capacity to support those improvements. This focus is anchored in the belief that accessible, affordable, understandable justice services are key to building stronger communities. Please join me in welcoming a dear friend to the college, Mr. Glenn Gardner.
Honored guests, faculty and staff, family, and of course, students. Thank you, Dean Phillipson, for that kind introduction. Sometimes when I hear those introductions, I don't realize they're talking about me until they're over, and then I realize that's actually me. What a privilege it is to be here with all of you on this very special day. In the next while, I'd like to share some thoughts with you about this law school adventure that you're embarking on. I know when I embarked on it, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Share some thoughts about the profession that you're proposing to enter, and finally offer you a challenge that I'd like you to consider as your career advances. So for the next hour or so, let me share my thoughts. Okay, I'm just checking to see if you're listening. I'm shooting for 12 to 15 minutes. I'll never make an hour, anyway. But first, before I get into my comments, let me talk a little bit about what I'm not going to speak to today. Regrettably, people of my vintage have a tendency to go back and tell you about the good old days. Or as Bruce Springsteen described it, time slips away and leaves you with nothing, mister, but boring stories of glory days. I actually think the glory days for the profession are now or to come. Certainly your glory days are. And your influence will be critical to that being so. All of you bring unique learning and life experience and beliefs and aspirations with you. You'll be the new leaders of the profession and will chart its course in the future. Worse than the good old days discussion, again, people of my vintage, have a tendency to embark on a what's wrong with young people these days? And at my age, that's almost everyone. I won't be doing that either. I have to say that my experience with students at the college and all of our new professionals coming into the profession has consistently left me more hopeful about our future. So I'm going to thank you in advance for your future positive contributions. But if you'll indulge me a bit, I will reflect a little bit on my law school experience and what it's meant to me in my career. I've been asked maybe a few hundred times by people, should I go to law school? And I've consistently responded that I would recommend a legal education for anyone, and I am eternally grateful for what my law school experience has built in me. Law school taught me, in addition to all that law stuff, that understanding different perspectives was as important as any particular stand that I might take on a matter. It taught me that I should be able to represent different perspectives fairly without compromising who I was. It taught me that I could learn a lot more by suspending my judgment for a minute and pursuing honest curiosity about why things were the way they are. It gave me the ability to work through, analyze, summarize, and explain large amounts of information. This has served me well in everything that I've done in my career. It taught me how to recognize and manage ethical complexity in my life and how to strike very careful balances around those ethical concerns. It developed a critical intellectual rigor for me that has also served me well in everything that I've done in my life. The more complicated question often in discussions with people around law school was not should I go, but what will I do when I get out? I've had what some would describe as an unconventional career, meaning I'm a lawyer, but I've done a number of things in addition to traditional private practice. I practiced law, I farmed, I was a chief of staff, I was a mediator, I was an assistant deputy minister, I was a senior labor relations consultant, I was a deputy minister of justice and deputy attorney general. And those are just the things that I did. That's not even the things I thought I might do. I planned none of that. I didn't seek out any of it. I just followed what I thought were interesting opportunities. And while I don't recommend capricious whimsy as a career planning tool, it did work for me. It's also led me to a personal mission in my career to find opportunities for bright new lawyers to use their legal education in as broad a range as possible. I believe you're entering the profession at a time when there are more opportunities available to you than ever before. And I encourage you to look at all of these opportunities and find one that is the best fit for yourself. Obviously, there's all the traditional opportunities with traditional practice. There's new opportunities around remote work or distributed workforce, as it's now called, unbundled services, coaching, contract work. Lots of work in the public service, legal aid, prosecutions, legal services to tribunals, leading tribunals, sitting on tribunals, constitutional law, public law and policy, even managerial roles in the public service, if that's something that interests you. A great increase in the interest in the in-house counsel, and a number of community organizations are now looking at internal legal resources to support their work, and that list just keeps going on. You'll hear more about these opportunities as your law school career progresses, and I want you to consider them and try and find the best fit for yourself. And you will be successful in your studies, and you'll be successful in your career due to your abilities and effort, but also because you have a faculty and staff of this college that is deeply committed to your success. I want to speak a little bit about changes in the profession in my time in it. I'll speak to some of the shifts that are in the areas that I'm most familiar with, but this is far from an exhaustive list. I do so in the hope that this might help you understand some of the things that you're going to be studying and maybe help with some of your choices going forward. Because there has been a huge change in the profession during my time in it. I graduated in 1980, yes, that's AD, and went into private practice. While I was unaware at the time that the winds of change had started, they had. It's often hard to see the pieces when you're experiencing them, but when you look back, a pattern emerges, and I want to describe what I think is a significant pattern in the profession. I recall early in my career many conversations with colleagues about whether we were a profession or a business, whether we were legal technicians or zealous advocates, or whether we were more than that. What did our clients require from us? How would the future of the legal profession unfold? In 1984, Chief Justice Warren Burger of the United States Supreme Court at an American Bar Association conference said this, sort of encapsulated a bit of the debate at the time. The entire legal profession, lawyers, judges, law teachers, has become so mesmerized by the courtroom contests that we tend to forget that we ought to be healers, healers of conflict. Should lawyers not be healers? Healers, not warriors? Healers, not procurers? Healers, not hired guns? The fact that he was asking this question at the time indicated, of course, that this wasn't an accepted idea, but it indicated that something was shifting and a dialogue was starting. Comments like that and others from Canadian sources that I could have quoted were met with everything from, what do you mean healers of conflict? We're the causes of it, and joking about it, right through to, there's something there, we need to be thinking more about that, we need to be thinking about how this profession will evolve over the next few years. Myself and several other lawyers at the time were also expressing some worry about the type of people who were not entering the profession or leaving it because they didn't see themselves in it. However, since that time, there's been a huge shift, I think. Lawyers have expanded their role well beyond legal technician and advocate and assumed the role of problem solver. With this shift to the role of lawyer as problem solver came increased attention to the skills and professional relationships that were required to do this work in a quality way. The profession became more sophisticated in how we negotiated and how we used our influence. I remember when I started practice, there was an old adage that you could tell that you'd reached a good agreement when everybody was equally dissatisfied with it. I remember saying to some of my colleagues, do you think we could set a higher bar? What other service provider gets away with saying, we're done when everybody's unhappy? This also involved a recognition that many of our old skills were inadequate and that strident advocacy might not lead to optimal outcomes, especially if it was relentless. This led to whole new models to support this problem-solving role. The courts in this province led the country in the use of case management and settlement conferencing, in the introduction of simplified rules and procedures that allowed quicker access to their service. Alternate dispute resolution rose up and eventually just became dispute resolution and eventually became mainstream as a service. In the criminal justice world, work proceeded on diversion programs, restorative justice initiatives, problem-solving courts, and those sorts of things. All of this, in turn, recognized that appropriate collaboration gets better results, which led to things like the initiation of collaborative law, the Association of Collaborative Professionals, multidisciplinary teams that worked on everything from litigation to family law matters, and mergers and acquisitions. Mary Parker Follett was one of the original early thinkers about collaboration and what worked and what was required of it. She was quoted as saying, collaborative work requires a higher level of energy and intelligence, and she was right. Many people felt it was better, but it certainly wasn't easy. The problem-solving trend led to a desire to get to resolution on our work rather than just outcomes. This is one of the main things that drove me to look at different ways of pursuing my career. Early in my career, I felt even doing a good job, I often felt that I wasn't actually resolving anything or concluding anything. I was just being used as an ongoing tool in people's conflict. So I'd successfully argue a chamber application and everybody be happy with it, but I knew within a week or a month there'd be another application or they'd be fighting in some other way. And this motivation across the profession, I think, to try and do more than just get outcomes but seek resolution certainly moved us closer to that model of being healers of conflict. As the profession's skill base broadened and new approaches were tested and found successful, we started to ask ourselves what else could be done to provide more service for more people for more of their problems. This fueled what eventually became known as the Access to Justice Initiative, which we referred to earlier, a cause that the profession has come to embrace. There's long been an acknowledgement that many of our traditional processes were too slow, too complex, too costly in many ways to be of use for many people for many of their problems. But now we could contemplate other ways of providing service. And then, of course, came the pandemic, which forced everybody in so many ways to accelerate necessary changes and discover whole new possibilities in a very short period of time, and we will continue to build on that. So a lot has changed. And are these changes uniform across all firms, all practice areas, all jurisdictions? No, but I think the trend line is very clear. And this college has taken a leadership role throughout to recognize and support these changes and understand their implications from an academic perspective. I think it's also important to point out the things that haven't changed in the profession and may even be more important now than ever before. As a number of people have already flagged, your personal credibility is key. Your reputation for integrity, competence, and honesty is essential. All of our work has moral agency, and we need to recognize it. Relationship management is everywhere. I had no idea when I graduated from the law college how much of my time and energy would be devoted to relationship management. Lawyer-client, lawyer-lawyer, with the bench, with other justice service providers, with the community. I had no idea, but it's critical to your success. The commitment to professionalism is essential, and obviously this means ongoing learning, professional development, adaptation to change, but it's more than that. Professionalism is essentially just the ethic of service. I once asked a person I thought was just a consummate professional what I needed to keep in mind as I moved into a new position that I wanted to be successful in, and he thought for a minute and he said, "Glenn, just keep looking for better ways to serve." I think that pretty much summarizes the professional obligation. I would also suggest that there's absolutely no substitute for simple civility in our work. Civility is not just about being nice and saying "my learned friend" when you actually want to say something else. It's about having the credibility, the type of relationships, and the influencing skills to, as communication experts say, land your message in a way that promotes acceptance, not resistance or dismissal, and also shows an indication that you're prepared to accept that approach being used with you. It creates more productive engagement and encourages people to work together better. It's certainly essential in our professional life, but it's also desperately needed in much of our broader social discourse. So you're now entering a profession at a time when I think it is more skilled, more diverse, more innovative, more principled, offers you more opportunities, and embraces the role of problem solver and healer more than it ever has. And all of that's been accomplished while respecting the core traditional principles of the profession around solicitor-client privilege and confidentiality, the competent duty of representation, and the respect for the rule of law. So here's my broader challenge to all of you to think about as your career advances. How can lawyers take a larger role in helping address many of the challenges faced by our communities and society overall? We have lots of challenges. You can name them. If managed well, these challenges create an opportunity to create more connection between people, stronger communities, and a brighter future. If not managed well, they create the potential for more division, damage, and risk. I've sometimes been viewed as a bit of a critic of our profession, and I don't think this is true, but I've always had very high expectations of the profession and what it could achieve, particularly if lawyers would assume this leadership role. So what can lawyers as leaders bring to these bigger issues? We can work to reduce the polarization that we see in so much of this discussion. We can demonstrate that collaboration and civility get results. We can help manage complexity. Too much of our broader social discussion gets distilled down into things that are better suited for bumper stickers and t-shirts and maybe memes than helpful contributions to improving our future. We can also, lawyers become pretty good communicators by the nature of their work, and we can promote communication between diverse parties. I was reminded in writing this that one of my old teachers always remarked that communication and community came from the Latin phrase communis, which in its simplest application means a mutual exchange of gifts. In other contexts, it means bringing pieces together to create a greater whole. And in its most intense usage means a duty of service to create a common good. I think we can all agree that we could use more of that. So I hope that you'll consider taking up that leadership role as your career progresses. So thank you so much for your time. I was going to say I wish you luck, but luck really has nothing to do with it. You'll be successful because of your abilities and your efforts and your openness to opportunities and your ability or your willingness to take some risks to pursue those opportunities. And if I can ever be of any help to you along your path, let me know. It would be my privilege to do so. So thank you again, and enjoy the rest of this special day. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. I would now like to welcome our cloakers to the stage. We are lucky to have a number of College of Law alumni, staff, and students, as well as representatives from the legal community, to present our first year students with their gowns. Can all of the cloakers please come to the stage? Okay, I'm going to introduce them one at a time and I'll ask them to step forward. So Phoenix Howe is the College of Law student and president of the Law Students Association. Michaela Keat is a College of Law alumnus and a professor at the college. Jana Linna is a partner at MLT Aikens LLP in Regina and the president of the Canadian Bar Association of Saskatchewan. Michael Milani, KC, is a College of Law alumnus, a partner at McDougall Gawley in Regina, and the current Este Chair in Business Law at the College of Law. Adam North is a College of Law alumnus and staff lawyer at the Saskatchewan Human Rights Commission. Dominga Robinson is a College of Law student and president of the Indigenous Law Students Association. The Honourable Madam Justice Alison Rothery is a College of Law alumnus and a Justice of the Court of King's Bench. Lauren Trucci is a College of Law alumnus, a recent graduate from our master's program, a lawyer with Matrix Law Group in North Battleford, and an instructor for our Quaes Castasawan course. And last but not least, Kimberly Visram is a College of Law alumnus, a partner at Stevenson Hood Thornton Beaubier, and current treasurer with the Saskatchewan Trial Lawyers Association.
Munir Abdul Hadi, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Jessie Ann Adair, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Fatima Ahmed, Mississauga, Ontario.
Marin Anguish, Prince George, British Columbia.
Ben Obon, High River, Alberta.
Yulia Bayramova, Calgary, Alberta.
Jennifer Banman, Cayo District, Belize.
Leah Barnard, Calgary, Alberta.
Tim Barnes, Calgary, Alberta.
Michael Baumgartner, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Ryan Bicknell, Prince Albert, Saskatchewan.
Amy Bjarnason, Prince George, British Columbia.
Brianna Bjarnason, Weyburn, Saskatchewan.
Jordan Bovair, Edson, Alberta.
Jaden Borsmeyer, Bruno, Saskatchewan.
Jay Boucher, Calgary, Alberta.
Hannah Bouvier, Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Alat Buzartit, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Hope Charney, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Rachel Klaus Chen, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Allison Christian, Edmonton, Alberta.
Emily Claude, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Esteban Cortez Vargas, Riohacha, Colombia.
Alyssa Craddy, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Brooke Cross Warbeck, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Aiden Cummins, Clavette, Saskatchewan.
Kira Demetrician, Glassland, Saskatchewan.
Liam Downs, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Mac Dumba, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Evan Dyson, Brandon, Manitoba.
Carter Easton, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Amanda Eberly, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Abby Elkington, Edmonton, Alberta.
Jana Ans, Waltham, Saskatchewan.
Trish Esmeralda, Camarines Sur, Philippines.
Carla Fast, Edmonton, Alberta.
Shkatemakwa, Shigo, Ali Fontaine, Saging First Nation.
Anna Gagnon, Calgary, Alberta.
Maria Garcia, Calgary, Alberta.
Taylor Green, Calgary, Alberta.
Jemana Hamid, Edmonton, Alberta.
Thomas Hill, Lacombe, Alberta.
Laura Hain, Edmonton, Alberta.
Vittoria Ivanelli, Calgary, Alberta.
Benjamin Ironstand, Regina, Saskatchewan, Tootnauzi being First Nation.
Paige Jackson, Calgary, Alberta.
Kevin Jaisaran, Mississauga, Ontario.
Fakiha Jamil, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Rael Johnson, Sundre, Alberta.
Sharia Joshi, Calgary, Alberta.
Nick Kane, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Sean Capilla, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Ibrahim Keshta, Edmonton, Alberta.
Carly King, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
George King, Calgary, Alberta.
Hudson Kinvig, Calgary, Alberta.
Kendall Kleisinger, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Veda Kotick Bradley, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Callum Kraft, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Lukian Krulak, Edmonton, Alberta.
Jade Kusky, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Susie Lalonde, Aberystwyth, Wales.
Nicholas Leffler, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Jiafu Li, Zhengzhou, China.
Joshua Lilly, North Battleford, Saskatchewan.
Blake Lenz, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Sophie Loveson, Stony Plain, Alberta.
Luke Lynette House, Toronto, Ontario.
Bowman Mays, Allen, Saskatchewan.
Sayed Nimamatavi, Isfahan, Iran.
Sam Matzel, North Vancouver, British Columbia.
Liam McLeod, Spruce Grove, Alberta.
Tia Montgrand, Turner Lake, Saskatchewan.
Griffin Moody, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Don Allen Morrison, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Spencer Murphy, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Jordan Nightingale, North Battleford, Saskatchewan.
Emma Neufeld, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Hi, my name is Caden Nilsson, and I'm from Choiceland, Saskatchewan.
Cassidy Olenberger, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Benjamin Pasiak, Red Deer, Alberta.
Chelsea Perugini, Kelowna, British Columbia.
Jane Procession, White Rock, BC.
Gayani Rajapaksha, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Daniela Ramalou, Vancouver, British Columbia.
Sarah Zazade, Calgary, Alberta.
Sam Riendo, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Jenna Sabin, Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Hassan Zashad, Calgary, Alberta.
Taranjeet Sal, Brampton, Ontario.
Catherine Sams, Corner Brook, Newfoundland.
Mackenzie Singer, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Aiden Scaff, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Landon Sosnowski, Prince Albert, Saskatchewan.
Andrew Sproul, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Kevin Stephen, Calgary, Alberta.
Aaron Stewart, Oxbow, Saskatchewan.
Kathleen Stoneham, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Owen Sayed, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Liba Tanoli, Edmonton, Alberta.
Zach Thomas, Calgary, Alberta.
Caitlin Tanita, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Brenna Triffle, Kindersley, Saskatchewan.
Samad Twemlow Carter, Kamloops, British Columbia.
Sara Ogliashich, Edmonton, Alberta.
Sarah Valentine, Edmonton, Alberta.
Kristen Ward, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Coral Watson, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Pam Wayman, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Lindsay Wigglesworth, Calgary, Alberta.
Jill Wachowski, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Mark Wonko, Langham, Saskatchewan.
Tennille Workman, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Emily Wooters, Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Matthew Zarab, Queens, New York.
Penny Yuan, Shanghai, China, and Calgary, Alberta.
Kasia Zaman, Etonia, Saskatchewan.
Emily Zunti, Warman, Saskatchewan.
I'd also like to welcome the following students who are unable to attend today. Taylor Hemsing from Brooks, Alberta, Kelly Rempel from Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and Rochelle Hartung. Thank you, cloakers. You may return to your seats. Thank you. I would now like to invite Professor Heather Haven, Associate Dean of Research and Graduate Studies, to read the educator commitment on behalf of the faculty at the College of Law. Heather.
Thank you, Martin. I see some of my colleagues that are in the audience as well, and if you want to join in, this is on behalf of the faculty of the College of Law. The institution makes commitments to you. We make commitments to you, as we will have you make commitments to us. So that's on page 4. I'm used to being a professor and letting everybody find their place. So under the educator commitment, as a faculty member of the University of Saskatchewan College of Law, I will, to the best of my ability, embody the learning behaviors we are teaching to others, maintain an appropriate teacher-learner relationship, bring research, scholarship, artistic work, and/or professional activities into teaching and mentorship. align learning outcomes, teaching activities, and assessment, develop respectful and inclusive learning environments that support student learning, communicate and uphold clear academic expectations and standards, perform fair and relevant assessment for and of student learning, solicit and reflect on feedback from students, peers, and others, and engage in lifelong learning and continuous enhancement of teaching practice.
I'll now ask our students to rise and repeat after me as we recite the student commitment. This is found on page 3 of the program, and I'm going to say each line and then ask you to repeat it after me. As a law student of the University of Saskatchewan, College of Law, I will, to the best of my ability, engage in a respectful way with local, national, and global members of community and society, contribute to the creation of a respectful and inclusive university community, actively engage in the learning process, undertake all learning activities with academic and ethical integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm round of applause as I present to you the College of Law class of 2025. No pressure at all now. Students, you may be seated. We'll now move into the awards portion of the event. And I want to begin by saying that the College of Law is grateful to all of our donors for all gifts, great and small. The College relies on the financial support of alumni and friends to assist us in funding bursaries, scholarships, and many other student initiatives. For some students, without the financial report that they receive from these donors, law school would not be an option. With that, I will begin the presentation of our entrance awards. First of all, I would like to present the Gary and Tammy Bugeaud Centennial Entrance Award, which goes to Vittoria Iovinelli. I would now like to invite Mr. Brad Pierce to present the Robert L. Pierce and Eleanor D. Pierce Entrance Scholarship. And this scholarship goes to Kira Dimitrition. The William Elliott Scholarship is presented to Callum Kraft. I would like to invite Mr. James Corpin, KC, back on stage to present the Law Society of Saskatchewan Scholarship. This year's recipient is Jaden Borstmeyer. I'd now like to invite Ms. Erin Eccleston to present the MLT Aikens LLP Scholarship in Law, and the award is presented to Jordan Boisvert. There are two awards for the Harris and Loretta and Raymond Earl Parr Memorial Scholarship. The first recipient is Matthew Zureb. The second recipient of the Harris and Loretta and Raymond Earl Parr Memorial Scholarship is Spencer Murphy. The Morris and Jackie Shumiacha Scholarship in Law. This year's recipient is Ibrahim Keshta. I would now ask Ms. Irene Seiferling to join me on stage to present the Law Foundation of Saskatchewan 25th Anniversary Scholarship. This year's recipient is Sam Matzel. The Brian Crane Gowlings WG Scholarship in Indigenous Law is awarded to Brooke Cross Waterbeck. The J. Barry Thompson Scholarship is awarded to Caden Nielsen. Next, we have the Mohinder Chada Award in Law that is presented to Sarah Rezazadeh. She has to take the long way around, so that's okay. Take your time. This year, the Justice John H. Marr Memorial Scholarship is awarded to Nima Madhavi. the Thomas P. and Peter S. Deese World War II Memorial Scholarship this year is being awarded to Jennifer Banman. And finally, we have 3 awards for the James M. Stevenson Entrance Scholarship. The first recipient is George King. The second recipient is Emily Cloud. And last but not least, the final recipient is Carly King. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony and awards presentation. I would like to thank all our speakers for their words of wisdom, and I hope that some of them sunk in, and you will remember those. Secondly, I'd like to thank all our cloakers for taking their time to be with us. I'd like to thank the guys at Audiovisual for doing the online feed. I'd like to thank Katie and all my staff for their organizational skills, and I'd like to thank all of you in the balcony for attending. Before we move over to Marquis Hall for the reception, and our staff will be able to guide you there, I would like our guests to wait and allow all our first years to make their way outside, straight through the doors, where our photographer will take a giant big picture of the whole group for posterity's sake. After photos are complete, please return to the green room to drop off your gowns. I just want to finish by saying what a privilege it is to be back in this room with families and everybody here together in person. It's been a rough few years, and you finished your undergraduate education, a lot of you in your parents' basements and in places like that. So I want to urge you to make use of the opportunity that you have now to meet each other, to learn from each other, and to participate fully in the educational and other life of the school. It's a great privilege to be in law school. I'll tell the folks upstairs that we get usually about 1,000 applications for 125 spots. So I always tell my first year class, the hardest thing about law school is getting in. And then the second hardest thing is getting through first year. So rely on each other, work with each other, cooperate, collaborate, and you will do it just fine. It's a privilege to be your dean, and I know the faculty are all looking forward to getting to know you and learning from you, as well as imparting knowledge to you. So thanks to everybody for attending. We hope you can all join us at Marquis Hall for the reception, and our staff will be outside to direct you to Marquis Hall. So if the students could stand and leave to maybe one last round of applause.